Right, everyone, so let's talk impression footprints. This is really important when you're thinking about growing any sort of business online whatsoever. Whether you're looking to get revenue or traffic, or you're just starting out with this side project, or you're actively looking to grow your huge business into different markets, etc. Everything hinges on impression footprints. So I'm going to walk through what it is, why you should care about it, how you calculate it, how do you grow it, and why automation is a wicked fit for it, and that you should be embracing it ASAP. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I built businesses fully on automation with this same model. It works really well for what I'm doing, and that's why I'm going to preach it. So check it out. What is an impression footprint? Before going into exactly what it is, let's just talk about why I might want to care about it, or what's my experience with impression footprints, and why do I want to share it with you. So in growth, I'm in love with the concept of growth levers. So imagine physically pulling on levers that, when you do them in the right order and the right strength, they have an exponential impact further on. So there's a guy called Drew Sanoki from nodemarketing.com, and if anyone's taken a CLX course on e-commerce growth, you've probably heard of this before. But he has a very interesting set of formulas, growth levers, to turn around businesses. So what he would do is, I think he was part of a private equity group that would pick up businesses and then just scale them and resell. So to get 2 times revenue on an e-commerce business, you actually have 3 growth levers that you should look at improving. So if you want to double your revenue, you look at purchase frequency. If we can get 30% extra purchase frequency, so that's turning the number of customers that only buy once into repeat customers, and you increase your AOV, your basket size, by 30%, and the customer count, the actual amount of customers that you're getting monthly. If you manage to do these by 30%, you can do the math, it ends up as your revenue increases like double, which is phenomenal, really. I really like this because it's very sellable. If I'm going into a new job or a new consultancy, I can go in and say, okay, look, these are our growth levers. I'll look at the business model, I'll look at what's going on, I'll look at the areas of improvement, and I'll map back these exponential growth levers to something that's, it's a tried tactic that I know how to increase all of these. With purchase frequency, everyone's goal in an e-commerce is this, AOV, etc., and customer count. It's all very generic, but to have this all laid out in front of you, it's much better than saying, okay, we're just going to run some paid ads, we're going to increase our budget by 15,000 a month and then see what happens, because you're attacking one part, maybe, definitely, but to have a fully fledged out, a fully fledged plan, or to have a plan that's hits multiple angles of attack, is definitely the way that I go about it, and this is how I built my businesses as well. So what is an impression footprint? At the bottom here, we have the entire world. This is literally everything, all of your opportunity in the entire world. And I say entire world because not everyone's business is online. There's physical, digital, there's hybrids, mix, but for the most part, we're here in the entire world. There's no escaping this. A smaller percentage of this is all of the internet. We have all of the internet here, and this is where most of our opportunity is going to be for people that are online, people that are watching these videos right now. We scale via the internet. It's a smaller proportion of this, and this is being very generous. I mean, it's like all of the internet and what's relevant to you. It's not 50% whatsoever. It's probably more like that, definitely, on a small slice. If you're thinking about all of the internet, it's every single language, everything that's going on, all of the events and the themes, and people that just will never need your product because they just aren't your customer ever. They don't speak your language. They're not the right age. They're in a different demographic, different location. We can boil it down to the internet relative to you is far smaller. Then your footprint, really, I mean, all of this is your footprint, but the one that fits you, like this, the one that fits your foot, the trainer, the sneaker that fits your foot, all of the internet relative to you that you can reach. But your footprint is everyone that right now you are reaching from this bucket, from this bucket, from this bucket. And it's going to be smaller, right? So that if you're only posting on LinkedIn or Twitter, or you've got a very small paid budget, then your footprint will be everyone who ever interacts with your brand via an impression. And even a small amount of that is going to be clicks. You want to increase your clicks, so your click-through rate, so that all of your impressions end up as clicks, and then even smaller percentage of that is going to be conversion. So our footprint, the thing that we care about, the thing that we want to grow, the thing that limits our business, that's the artificial ceiling, here is made up of all of the relative opportunities to us. And what might that look like in a digital space? So the power of the circle tool is, let's call this Google. Everyone loves Google. Let's call this all of the Google traffic. So there's display in there, news, paid is going to be a huge part of it. I don't know the actual percentage of it, but you're in here, right? And this is all of Google, and then we'll do it in a different color, but this is maybe the amount of stuff you're getting on Google right now. How do I change that color? There we go. This is you here. So that could be paid. Can we go even further? It could be paid ads in there. It could be small. It could be some organic. If you're doing really well, that's awesome. Maybe organic's like a super small portion there. This is your impression footprint on Google, right? And the aim of it really, if you want clicks, or if you want more sales, more clicks, etc., you need to grow that impression footprint by pushing out the sides of your paid, of your organic, of however you want to do it, to get more traffic. And over time, that will happen. You can grow your impression footprint. That's what we're doing at digital specialists. It can also decrease as well. If you've ever taken a loss in rankings, you'll know what that feels like. Or if a competitor comes into your space on PPC and absolutely destroys you with extra budgets or better click-through, then yeah, you can take a punt. Relatively, compared to everything else, this will stay pretty similar. And then Google, actually, it can also fluctuate. And this is let's think about this as search volume. So if something comes into trend, remote working via COVID, then that might boom. And everyone saw this, that our search volume for certain terms increased, that the demand was there. So actually, if we're looking about this, all of this relative to you, that increased during certain times, and it can also contract as well, which is a lot of businesses found after COVID, on the pre-COVID, the post-COVID. They hired an absolute shit ton of people to keep up demand, and the demand fell through, and now everyone's getting the shit end of it. So anyway, that is it. Let's shrink that back to normal times. But Google's not just Google, or your impression footprint's not just Google. You got Facebook, you got Reddit. I'll move these to be in line in the sizes to each other. What else do we have? App Store. No, let's not talk apps. Let's just talk digital. YouTube, absolute huge one. So maybe they're like this. YouTube's bloody big. I know it is. We'll pick up TikTok as well. Maybe I don't care too much for Facebook nowadays. Let's make it smaller. And again, if you look at it like this, you've got a certain small part of this. It's going to be your paid ads or your private groups or whatever it is. In Reddit, this might be, if you're running a private subreddit, or you're constantly posting or something, this might be more relative to B2B SaaS founders. You might have a small part of Reddit here. Product recommendations might be in there. You might be able to eke out a bit of traffic there. And then, YouTube, if you're running a YouTube channel, or you've got a good YouTube presence, or, part of Google Display Network, you're doing ads on it, then you can have a bit there. TikTok. So these are all public. Oh, that's not so good. How do I send this to the back? No clue. But there you go. Let's make them white, so I can see a bit better. And then from public, we also have private. And these are the things that also add to your impression footprint. It could be email. You've got an email list. It's typically, you've got a huge email list. You might have 1 million people on your email list. It might be great. And a certain percentage of that, let's make it just fit in there, are going to be people that read your emails and click through and do something. So you've got that part of your impression footprint. What else do we have? That could be your remarketing or retargeting. I don't know, that's, we could talk about it in Facebook, but this is more of a hybrid thing. So this could be your ads retargeting, like that. And you want to grow that as well. So, these engaged people are there. It's just people that come to your site, But you might think like your site is actually people that are relative. So it might not be everyone there. So what else can we do? Discord, communities. And all of these are going to be different sizes depending on what your strategy is. So, if you're big on Discord, like I would love to be big on Discord and have a big community there, then, I would value growing this. But, other people, Substack, really into email, and that works for them. Some people only doing paid. Paid is a really good way of getting ahead with smaller businesses or businesses that need to scale quickly. And then your site, you could have your main site, money site, B sites, C sites, whatever. Like it all adds up. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to take all of our red dots here, everywhere. We're going to smash them all together. Look at that. And this makes up your impression footprint, right? A small percentage of this will convert to revenue. So if think about e-commerce again, if 2% of your impression footprint ends up on your site, and then 2% of that ends up making a sale, then at scale you need a massive impression footprint, or you want to grow it as big as possible. And that's why we care about it. How do we calculate hours? Not really got a super keen way of doing this. I mean, like if you're thinking about omni-channel analytics, you can just go into Google Analytics and you can just check out what percentages of everywhere of traffic comes to your site from these sources, and then further out, go look at ad platforms, go look at search volumes, and work out what's the addressable market. What's the all of the internet relative to you, and you could work it out that way. The thing you've just got to have in your head is that you want to know what's your coverage of this, what percentage of this circle are you covering? Because if you're say you absolutely dominate this, say you're doing, I don't know, diving in the Maldives on luxury yachts, and there's only 100 people in the world searching for it every month, and you get 90 of those impressions and they funnel through to your site. Do you want to try and get the other 10? Maybe. But is your time better spent over here, not Facebook land, I hate it, in YouTube land, where the amount of people might be 1,000 a month and you're only getting 5 of them? So you've got to make decisions based on where's the opportunity there. And the way I do this is take your impression footprint, it's just some pseudo math, divided by the total available times it by 100, and that gives you a percentage. So if your impression footprint, say you had 25,000 views, impressions per month, out of a total 10 million, then your impression coverage, your footprint coverage is 0.25%. And you want that to increase because that we want sales. How do we grow it? Let's draw out a timeline. If we think about the graph here, and on the X we have time, and on the Y we have, I don't know, impressions. I can draw in this, cool. So this is us here right now. Maybe your impression footprint kind of looks like this, coming up to this point over time in impressions. We're going to draw in different colors the different channels and what we're doing over time. So YouTube, I'll take mine for example. Just started on YouTube. I'm not doing a whole lot. I've had YouTube for a while, but my impressions have been pretty poor because I've just had a few how-to videos on some of my Chrome extensions, and I've not really engaged or put out any interesting content really. I'm still not, I'd like to be doing much more, but over time my impression footprint is growing like this. It's just slam, I'll put YouTube here, and over time that's going to add up. More people are starting to come in through my Twitter as well, so I'll add some on Twitter, and then I don't know what other channel am I doing quite well on. Nothing really. Small slither on LinkedIn, like a small one. Let's just do that. So that was Twitter. That was LinkedIn, blue, I think. X. This is what it's going to look like, and our impressions are going to grow as long as your channel's growing. You know, it could be like, if I don't put out any videos whatsoever moving forwards, then maybe my YouTube will just die. If you think about it day to day, it's not a flat cumulative line at all. It's like when I put out a video, my impressions do something like that, you know, and then they kind of flatten out. Every time I'm putting out a new video, it's slightly increased, and cumulatively I'll increase my volume here. Now, what does this mean? This means I need to be very consistent about over time what I'm putting out, because, you know, if I put out 2 videos and then there's a slump and I put out 1 video over here, what's my impression footprint going to do? You know, it's following the roller coaster. You don't want this gap, because this is lost. This is lost sales in here. So, I mean, you don't want to be in this zone. You want you want to be sat in the impressions, in the footprint. If you think about layering all of this on top of one another as well, you know, you're going to get a certain number of footprints from it. Okay, so like the blue is a YouTube video, and then I post it out on Twitter. I'll get a certain amount of impressions there, and then I'll post it out again, and there, and there, and then LinkedIn, I'm posting it at basically the same time, and I get a certain amount from LinkedIn. And then cumulatively, these add up like this. And then, okay, nothing to post, and then up like that. Why am I saying this? You have to be consistent. You have to consistently post on everything all the time, so that, you know, during this day, let's split this up into different days now quickly, or months maybe. So, you know, this is what we're January right now. There might be 50,000 people in January looking for you, or looking for things that are relevant. They're on the internet, relevant to you. In February, maybe less, you know, maybe it's very seasonal. A lot of businesses are. If you miss out in January, in February, on these large impression share audiences, and then you say, oh, okay, well, look, it's May now, it's April, it's May now, I've really got to like get on it, I'm going to start posting. If the total addressable audience is really fucking small, then you've really missed the boat completely. So you need to consistently, I need a better way to draw this, be posting so that you're hitting as much of that impression footprint as possible. You know, why is automation so important with this? It's a multiplication thing of nobody is being consistent unless you're a very large brand that can afford lots of overheads, and you've got a plan to hit all of these all of the time with interesting content. Even those hit a ceiling. You know, if you've got an outsourced agency or an in-house team and you're constantly posting, you'll probably have like a calendar. You'll have different parts of news throughout the calendar year. It's your job to make as many of those as possible. You'll be hard capped by something, like you probably, if you could send 1 million emails a day, you probably piss a lot of people off. So you're hard capped by that size, and you're also hard capped by the search volume, by the impression volume that these provide. You know, so you've got to think about that. Target coverage. Yeah, let's do that, and then in blue we'll do like can we do a dotted line on this? TLDR is wicked. That's our actual footprint coverage. You've really got to be on it. And if you're a small company, or you're a one-man band, or you're not traditionally in the space, or maybe you're prohibited from doing stuff in this space because of the work that you're doing, you know, if you're in insurance, or if you're doing your money, your life, or if you're, I don't know, like I keep going back to the THC brand because I'm having such a good time automating these strategies. It's difficult unless we get automation involved. And this is why I'm saying go automate everything with as high quality content as possible. If you're here and you're like, yeah, I want to do an SEO heist, I want to go scrape some stuff, stick it through GPT, post it out, and have a fucking graph that looks like that. Yeah, you know, we've all seen them, the Search Console graphs, and they're like, wow, look at these impressions. You know, like your site's just gonna do that. We know. There's no point in worrying about it. You know, if you want to do churn and burn, that's great, and the tactics are also appropriate. And you can use everything that I'm doing there for churn and burn if you want to. You can be as black hat as you like about it, and at times I love it, definitely. But this is not about being black hat. This is not about scummy, small, short, nearsighted tactics. This is about automating everything that brands do so that you as a small business, or you as a business that's not in the space being consistent, can be consistent, can smash out as many impressions as possible to increase your coverage and to go through that squeeze to get to your conversions. All right, so the entire world, all of the internet relevant to you, your footprint, clicks, and then conversions. We've got a few different ways that we can improve it, but automation is by far the one that I've found as a growth lever to increase the impression share, is by being consistent. It was that you could maybe be consistent on a few channels, or if you're in like the most boring business in the world, it would be really quite difficult, and you just say, hey, social's not for me, whatever, cool. But actually the cost of doing with automation is so small now, or the cost to reward ratio is so big, we could call it reward to cost positive, that we want to do this. We want to give it a go. We want to try as much as possible as growth engineers, as growth marketers, or whatever we want to call it. We want to take as many swings as possible. Like if we can do 10,000 experiments a year and one of them hits big, then that's the lottery win. That's the one that we write about. That's the case study you read. That's the one that everyone tries to replicate. That's you don't talk about the thousands of other ones that flop. But if you can only do one a month, are you going to hit that? It's the same as job applications, really. So if you're going through job applications, or you're going through the job app process, you'll have, let's go back to our defaults. Is there a way to do defaults? I've got to select the guy for that. An application process might look more like this, as the number of jobs you applied to, and you've seen all of this. This is the one I've got interviews for. These are the ones that I didn't flop on and I actually got an offer. And then if you're lucky, you've got multiple offers to choose from, but a lot of us, we just go through the one and we're like, yeah, we got the job, woohoo, celebration, let's just party. It's exactly the same as what we're doing here. Instead of jobs that we apply to and get interviews for and get an offer, it's like we get the impressions. This, we're digital, we know all of this. You get the clicks, you get the conversions, and then hopefully that the conversion doesn't really mean too much if it doesn't fit your business model. So get the job might be become a 2x customer with high AOV, and that's tying everything back around. So with automation, be consistent about your posting. Work out what sort of tools and tech is out there, and that's me that I'm going to be helping you with to show you all of these different pieces of tool and tech. I'll do a lot of demos as I build my own sites. I've got 4-5 portfolio sites on the way, but when they're ready, I want to walk through all the tactics to show you how to do them all. It's very simple nowadays, especially with GPT, to get started. Let's talk SEO Heist. It shouldn't be a scrape site or steal from site, plagiarize site, GPT it, post it back on crappy WordPress. Please don't do that. That's fine, but you're not going to get the same value as if you actually give a shit about embracing automation and AI as cheaper labor that's more efficient and can be more consistent. What we want is scrape multiple sites, curate and compare with GPT. It doesn't have to be GPT, it can be manual as well. Once you have that, maybe you have an optional editor process. And this could be human, this could be not human. I think in the future, it won't be up for debate. We'll just say, why would we pass this to a human? Maybe the human that sits further in this sort of area here, instead of someone that's doing content. And then we post it back on our high tier, high quality site that gives the user value. And that's the important bit. That's the bit that we cannot skip. That's the bit that puts us apart from every other site. Definitely. If you've ever seen some black hat, I don't know, like PBNs, and you're like, wow, what is the point of doing this? They've all got the same theme. It's all generic as fuck content, and it's scummy. Yeah, it works. It definitely works. But with automation, what's the point in going through all that effort when you could just put in a little bit more and have all of this process completely automated? So yeah, anyway, that's the video. That's impression footprints. So you should give a shit about yours, because it's how you grow a business online. It's how you think about how to do this. It's also like, if you're in consulting, if you're like in-house and you're trying to sell things, using growth levers and working out, these type of math, and you could just go to GPT and like say, hey, I'll put this in the comments so you can read it. Tell me more growth levers that we can do. You can make a business on this. On saying, okay, like, I'm gonna think of a really smart way to increase our purchase frequency or AOV, or in my case, acquisition through automation is what I'm doing. Building assets, building things that increase my size of the internet relative to me. I can't grab this. This is annoying. So I want to be able to increase this guy here and increase the footprint there, definitely. So I'm going to wrap this up. Hope you enjoyed it. I hope the audio has been decent this time. Give it a subscribe and a like and a share, and get me on LinkedIn, get me on Twitter. I'll put all this shit in the bottom. I'm happy to talk to anyone about this whatsoever. I live for this. It's awesome. Yeah, I've had so much fun implementing this for clients and my own stuff. I'm available to chat, so get hold of me, really. I will catch you later. Have a great day, and yeah, peace.